First of all, extremely proud of our guys. They showed me a lot at the end of the Michigan State game, and I mentioned that of how they battled and would not flinch, nor would they ever have any inkling of giving in. And they showed that at the end, and I think it helped us here tonight in terms of it wasn't exactly pretty, especially the first 25 to 30 minutes, but that resolve and that fight and that grit, as I commended them on in the locker room, it shows that they're maturing. And when things don't go well, you can still find ways to be on the left-hand side. But the maturity of Ethan Happ and how he is growing up right in front of our eyes, for Nigel to struggle early, have a seat at the end of the first half and figure some things out, and then to be able to get things going a little bit in the second half, and then to be able to get to the free throw line like we did, I thought was very big for us. Our formula here has always been to try to get to the free throw line as much as possible, and it's nights like this when you start 1 for 13 from 3, which I thought was too many, that we found another way when the ball wasn't going in. So to be able to get to the free throw line, get some confidence by seeing the ball go in, helped us in other facets of the game. And then our defense, I think we held them scoreless for over 7 minutes and went on a 17-0 run. And obviously our crowd, they got to commend our fans because they gave us a boost at times when we were sputtering. So like I said, extremely proud of our guys because they did not flinch. They would not wilt at all. And when things weren't going well, kept digging in and finding a way. So with that, I will take any of your questions.
Right over your coach.
Greg,
Yes.
you mentioned having to sit Nigel towards the end of the first half. What did you see in terms of just effort-wise from him in the first 20 minutes and as the team as a whole, and what changed at halftime?
Well, I thought he looked maybe a little fatigued from a standpoint. We had a pretty tough game Thursday night and then a rather quick turnaround. So I just needed him and Bronson to just gather themselves a little bit, refocus, and knowing that we'd go into halftime and regroup and be able to come back out. And obviously we talked about things at halftime, what we needed to do, and how we had deviated some from the game plan. We had started pretty well with it by touching the paint in a variety of ways, but then we had deviated from it. And some of that's obviously what Illinois did in terms of sending extra help and doubling Ethan. But I also thought we didn't handle that well and react to it as well as we could have and as well as we did in the second half.
Right over your coach.
Coach, for the first 25 or 30 minutes or so, didn't seem like hardly any of your jump shots were falling, and start the second half, pretty much everything was falling for Illinois. What were you telling the guys in the huddle to try to keep their confidence up?
Well, the first 6 possessions, I think they scored on 4 of their first 6 possessions at the start of the second half. But in the media timeout, as I looked up at the scoreboard, I saw our fouls on them racking up, which was a good thing, knowing that we could get to the free throw line quickly in the second half. And that's always a great way to make a comeback, is to try to score with the clock stopped. And they also hit tough shots. I mean, I got to give Malcolm Hill a lot of credit. He's one of the best players in this league, and we knew that before tonight. But some of the shots he hit, even though we were exchanging the ball screens to try to prevent some of the throwback or 3 opportunities, with different players and shut-off dribble penetration, he hit some step backs and some leaners. And when you have a guy 6'9" up in your face and you still be able to hit those shots, that's a credit to him. And tonight's not the first night he's done it. We've watched every game in conference play that they've played, and he's at the top. I think he's leading the league in scoring. He probably doesn't drop any tonight with how he did, and he's a very, very good player.
Greg, you mentioned the late fight that they showed at Michigan State. I mean, it's one thing to do it when you're down by 22 and trying to make it look better. It's another to do it when you're down 13 and maybe on the precipice of losing a second game. Did you have any inkling at any point before that run started that they were on the verge of that?
Well, I knew, like I mentioned before, we were getting close to the bonus, and that's always a great way for, as I've said, for players to gain some confidence when the shots aren't going in. And I thought we settled for 2-point jump shots in stretches in the first half, where in the second half we were more determined to play with 2 feet in the paint. And by getting to the free throw line and seeing the ball go in, I think it gave Nigel some more confidence. It gave Ethan some confidence. I think it helped Bronson some too, to be able to get up there and see the ball go in and get a little mojo going a little bit too. And we changed some things. We changed how we were guarding the ball screen probably in the last 12 minutes. I have to go back and exactly what media timeout I changed it. And I thought that helped. I thought we got Hill under control a little bit by keeping Nigel on him. and we were able to get a little momentum going off of that.
Right in the back, Coach.
What was your message to the team at halftime? I mean, it was a pretty rough first half. A lot of shots were not falling.
A lot of kids watch this, right? So I probably can't say exactly what I said, but the message was stay true to our identity. We know what has made us successful. Let's get back to that. And we had to adjust some things. We knew they hit some tough shots in the first half, but we were going to have to stay true to one possession at a time. It's been our mantra from day one. But to just let's not get out of character here. Even though they're hitting some tough shots, don't hit the panic button. Continue to do what we do, and let's get to the free throw line. Let's not settle for so many intermediate two-point jump shots. If threes are there and they're open, your feet are set, take them. But if not, let's try to attack, and if we can get to the free throw line, obviously we're only down 5 at that point. But I thought, at least we could get there and regroup a little bit and get back to playing like the last 12, 14 minutes when we made that run. That was Wisconsin, and that was my message at halftime. Let's be ourselves here and not deviate from what's got us in this good position during this run of games.
Greg, what is it about Ethan's skill set that allows him to have 6 steals in a game?
Well, his footwork is very good. You see that obviously offensively, his balance, his feel around the rim, his ability offensively to play off of bodies. But I think he also does some of that defensively. He's able to react and counter post players that are trying to post him up and feel which way weight is being shifted and kind of counter that a little bit. He gambles at times too much, which he's working at getting better at. But I think for a freshman to be able to do the things he does, and he's got quick hands. I think that's the other thing, his perception, and he was a baseball player, so he's got a cousin that's doing really well in the major leagues. So I think his hand-eye coordination and feel of dexterity with his feet and be able to counter, stay on balance and move and counter people's attempt to pin him defensively. I think he tried to applies all those things to his defensive game.